1.17 Part 1 came a few days ago with a lot of changes. But of course, if you had a snapshot like I do, you don't really have much surprise. So anyway, in this video I'm going to talk about everything that Mojang added in 1.17 Part 1. Before we start, don't forget to punch the like button, subscribe to my channel, and of course ring the bell to get a notification anytime I upload a new video or start a new live. So first of all, as you can see, I'm right now in a cave, and well, there is a lot of deep slate. That's because deep slate generates between Y10, something like that, or 13 and below. That's the things that in part 1. Of course in part 2 everything is going to be different because of the new caves. As you can see, I'm right now at Y10. So the deep slate has a lot of shapes, as you can see. Well, you can't really see that here because this is the normal deep slate. The normal deep slate has something like 2 between 3 faces. That means that if you put it in one side, in the other side it will look different, just like the wood. As you can see right now, I'm holding every ore in Minecraft Overworld. Except copper. I'll talk about copper later. So right now these are all the old ores with their new texture. So Mojang had before 1.17 the same texture for each ore, but now they changed to every ore a unique texture except diamonds because they wanted to keep the old texture, which is pretty great. I think that we should never actually say goodbye to the old texture that followed us all across the years. So as you can see, there is a new texture, and of course each ore has a deep slate version of himself, which is harder to mine because, as I mentioned before, if I mentioned I'm not really sure, deep slate is actually harder to mine than stone, something like twice as hard. As you can see, this is the copper ore. Of course it drops raw copper, but I will talk about the raw stuff later. So as you can see, I'm mining here at tough blocks, which in the previous snapshots they were near the avatars, but now they are just all across the world, just in random places, not close to the avatars. Personally, I'm still confused by it because I'm used that the tough blocks are closer to the avatars, but I will talk about it later. This is the glow lichen. The glow lichen generates all across the Minecraft caves. The glow lichen glows a little. The only way to mine the glow lichen and actually get the glow lichen is using shears. So if you want to create a copper block, you just have to take 3 copper ingots and create a block. The copper has its exposed versions, there are 4, and yes, it has a lot of blocks. A stair to everything, another version of copper blocks to everything, slabs, and literally everything for each version of the copper. If you don't want the copper blocks to change, you can just put honey with it, and done, you have got a waxed copper block. But you can also just put honey on it, and to remove it, just use an axe. It's pretty easy, just wax on and wax off. Also, when you use an axe, you can make the copper younger, which means that if you mistakenly forget to put honey on your copper and it gets old, you can just make it younger. But of course, there is another way to get the copper younger. Lightning rods. Well, so there are these 2 blocks that are near the avatars, always. And well, the avatars are pretty useless actually. There are only 2 uses for the avatars. So first of all, in order to get an avatar, you have to destroy a full-grown crystal. Not a tiny one, only the full-grown one. Well, they grow only on a different type of blocks of the avatars. As you can see, there are 2. The ones that looks like there's nothing on them, and the ones that looks like there is a hole in there. You can mine the blocks that don't have the hole, but the ones that do have, you can't mine them. You just have to come back to the avatars area every time you want avatars. Yeah, uh, it's pretty sad that you have to just come down every time just to get a few amateurs. So anyway, the only two things that you can actually do with the amateurs is first of all to create a spyglass, which is pretty cool. You get copper, you get amateurs, merge them together, and here you have a spyglass. Well, the spyglass are exactly what it sounds. It just zoom in, which is pretty cool because, well, why not? Why won't you know what you want to zoom in inside a inside a far place, something like a village, if you want to make sure that everything is all right in there, or into your base, or whatever you want actually. For example, you are in your boat, you want to find land, and you see a tiny thing. So you want to make sure it's a land. Zoom in, and that's it. Pretty cool, right? The other thing is tinted glass, which is glass merged with amateurs. Pretty useless, but it looks great for buildings. And because there is no really other any use for amateurs, because actually you need only one spyglass, you don't really need another one. So it's pretty cool that you can just take the amateurs and create a special type of glass. Do you know it when your inventory is just full of copper and everything, and you just need all of that and you can throw it? So there is a solution. Just come to the nearest crafting table, take all of your raw copper, which I'll talk about later, and craft a raw copper block. It's the same from the raw copper iron and for raw iron and raw gold. And I wasn't expecting that. So anyways, as you can see, here is the raw copper block and the raw iron block and the raw gold block. Now let's talk about dripstone and dripstone block. So the dripstone is generated all across the Minecraft world, and in 1.17 part 2 it will have its own cave, which is pretty cool. I really hope for that. So dripstone hurts. It's pretty hard, as you can see. It takes a lot of damage, but that depends on which height are you and how much dripstone there is, because one dripstone does literally nothing damage, but two dripstone and up does more and more damage. As you can see, I'm going to place two dripstone here and they merge. This is another cool thing about the dripstone. When they meet each other, they can merge exactly like real life, which is pretty cool. So here we have the dripstone ultimate farm. So when there is water up the dripstone, well, it grows and it is water. So if you put it, under the dripstone, it will fill water. Same for lava. And if it will be on a dripstone block, a dripstone will grow in there, which means a double dripstone farm plus water farm plus lava farm in the same place. Pretty cool, right? So, azalea leaves and flowered azalea leaves. Well, it's not in Minecraft yet, but it will be in part 2. Well, in part 2 there will be some trees, oak trees, with azalea and flowered azalea leaves. And under those trees there will be azalea caves, which are awesome. So yeah, that's the thing about azalea leaves. Well, kind of the same for azalea and flowered azalea, so that when you destroy the azalea leaves, you might get them. And the thing that I like the most about the flowered azalea and the azalea is that you can put them in a flower pot and then it just looks amazing. So now there is also the mousse blocks and all of the other stuff. There is a rooted dirt and you can unroot the rooted dirt, which is great. Now the roots are pretty awesome actually. You can just put them under blocks and it looks amazing. There are candles in literally every color and you can put up to 4 candles in a place. So the way you light up the candles is just using flint and steel. This is easy, right? So just do it like that, pretty easy. And the candles are a little different when they burn. Now the good thing about the candles is that, not like real life, they don't really melt. They stay forever. And when you spray water on them, the flame is gone. As you can see, no flame. And now you can also celebrate the birthday of your Minecraft dog. Just put a cake, a candle above it, and light up the candle. Small drip leaves are useless, but big drip leaves are a whole new story. You can put out big drip leaves and using bone meal you can just make them grow. Now the kind of surprising thing about the big drip leaf is just when you stand on it, you fall after a few seconds. As you can see, I'm standing and here, I fell. Well, this is a pretty small big drip leaf, so I just stand here and here, as you can see, I fell. But after a few seconds, it's just stands back up, and yeah. It doesn't really look pretty useful at the first look, but when you think about it, it's extremely useful. Glowberries, the new food in Minecraft. Just put the glowberries and it goes alone, and then eat the glowberries. The glowberries glows. But when you eat them, you are not glowing. I think that it will be awesome if you could eat a glowberry and then glow. Of course you can climb it too. You can literally spray this block by using only bone meal, which is crazy. I mean, you just have infinite of this block and flowered azalea and flowers and literally everything by just using bone meal and spraying it all across the world. But of course, if you want to spray it all across the world, you're going to need infinite bone meal. A lightning rod has only 2 uses and is one of the most useful things that Mojang ever added to Minecraft. Well, I think that I don't even have to speak. Mojang already showed you what it can do. It can just make the copper younger and it takes the lightning to himself. And it does a little redstone signal. So if you build a house, don't put it just in the roof, please don't do it. Just put it, here's another lighting, just put it a block that is not wood above the roof and whoa. So anyway, just put a block that is not wood or anything like that above the roof, and above this block you can put the lightning rod, and then your house won't burn ever. Now let's talk about the 3 new mobs that Mojang added to 1.17 part 1. First of all, goats. Yes, so goats You can make baby goats by using wheat, which is pretty cool, just wheat and a baby goat. Now, the goats really like to ram stuff. I will show you an example. So, another thing except for the ramming, in the bedrock edition, the goats can actually get you a goat horn when you kill them, but here it's not like that. As you can see, the goats are ramming. So anyway, the goats can jump over 10 blocks. There is one special goat, 1 in 50 goats, that's called the screaming goat, which is just awesome. And screaming is funny. It has some kinds of screams which are extremely funny, and I think that I just heard a few screaming goats right now. I'm pretty sure that in one of the snapshots I showed you some of the screaming goats screams. You can check it out. I think it was maybe 10A, I don't remember, but it's something like that. So yes, that's all of the information that I can tell you about the goats. They like to ram, they jump, screaming goats, wait to create baby goats, and you can't ride them unfortunately. If you could ride them, it will be awesome, because then you could have just jump across the mountains, which will be awesome. And now the glow squid. The glow squid is the mob that won the elections for the new mob. There were 3 mobs, the glow squid won. So, the glow squid is actually pretty useful. A lot of people really hate the glow squid, but I think it's pretty useful. I'll tell you why. So, when you punch a glow squid, it just stops glowing for a second, and it's a pretty funny chase for the glow squid. Now, the reason that you want to kill the glow squid is because they give you a glow ink, which is pretty useful. So you can use the glow ink to create this glowing item frame. You're at the night at your base, and your base is pretty dark. You've got the glowing item frame, and just to keep the important stuff in a special place, instead of a regular item frame, a glowing item frame, I think it's pretty cool. So the other thing is a sign. You know that you can write on a sign, and after you write on the sign, you can color the sign. But now, you can use a glow ink to color the sign too. And this is what happens when you color a sign. It glows. And it's just beautiful, and it stays for the day too. I think it's great. I prefer that other than the regular writing, because, well, I don't really even have to explain this. This is pretty much of a fact. So even if I will create signs that don't really need to be glowing in the dark, I will do it to them because it looks awesome. So now to the last mob, the axolotls, which are my favorite. First of all, they attack glow squid and fish and guardians and the other guardians. So the axolotls are awesome. Of course, I wanna create a lot of them. An army of axolotls. Rise my army. The army of axolotls. Well, I guess that you already know that axolotls are my favorite according to my past videos. So, yes, axolotls are pretty awesome. They can kill a lot of stuff. They are cute. They attack. And when something attacks them, they just pretend they are dead, which is pretty cute. And after an attack, they have something like 15 seconds or 2 minutes cooldown. Another cool thing about axolotls, you can put them in a bucket. So now you don't have to say goodbye to the axolotls and go to your home, because you can now just take the axolotls to your home by taking them in a bucket, which is a lot more useful than just using a rope, because I don't know if you know it, but when you put an axolotl in a rope, it just freaks out. So don't do it, it's a bug. I hope that mojang will fix this bug soon. And I don't know if you noticed it, but this elder guardian killed an axolotls. He killed one. So yeah, he's dead. I'm gonna kill him. No one with axolotls. Absolutely no one. By the way, I said this sentence a couple of videos before in one of the snapshots when my axolotls died. So never mess with my axolotls. Never. So yeah, that's pretty much everything about axolotls. They are cute, they attack, and yep, if you want to say axolotls in 2 words, you can just say cute and attack. And well, this is literally everything in Minecraft 1.17 part 1. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video or live stream, whatever comes up next.